Alright, so there are plethora of funds available in the market to invest your hard-earned money in, but how do you assess which is the right fund for your portfolio and what should you be looking at to help you navigate through this maze? Today I have with me Hemant Rustagi, Wiseinvest. Also, do not forget to send across your portfolio queries on our WhatsApp number, which is 865-797-4571. You can also email us the questions on the money show at etnow.tv. Hi Hemant and good evening. Welcome to the Money Show, and let's begin the question and answer session. And we have a live viewer connected, Vikram Prabhu. Hi Vikram, how are you doing? Good evening.
Yeah, hi Kavita ma'am. Good evening.
You're calling from where?
I'm calling from Bangalore.
Alright, you want to invest for your child's higher education and you want to accumulate 1.5 crores in 18 years. And you are investing in Zerodha Nifty Large Cap, Mid Cap, 250 Index. And you want to know if there can be any other fund that you can add to your portfolio.
Yeah,
And
I just want to invest in one single fund. So how about this Zerodha large mid cap?
And why just one fund, if I may ask?
So just I don't want to make it more complex. I just wanted to keep it simple. That is the reason.
Okay.
Because
But
already
then
I
you were
have
saying having just sure. Yeah.
just
please go on.
one goal, right? That's why only one
Right.
fund I am planning to keep. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact that you want to keep your financial portfolio very simple, but then you might not gain a lot of benefits that you might have by having a diversified portfolio. Your portfolio can be diversified across market caps. Here, I think you have invested in a passive fund, and it's a very it's a large and mid cap passive fund. You can still have a simpler portfolio by diversifying yourself across market caps. Okay, and why is it important? Why is it maybe not a right strategy to have just one fund in your portfolio, even though it is an index fund which caters to large cap and mid cap? Let's first get into this and delve into this discussion with Hemant. Hemant, I really like the question because he wants a simple portfolio and he just wants one fund because he thinks there is only one particular goal right now in front of him. So is this simple? Being so simple can also lead to not getting gains in the longer term that you might get by diversifying your portfolio.
Oh yes, Kavita. I mean, yes, we all want to keep our investment process simple, but unfortunately, it's not that by just keeping it simple you can achieve all your goals. So let me just begin with how much he needs to invest to get to his target of 1.5 crore because he has time horizon of 18 years. So he needs to, if I assume annualized return of 12%, he needs to invest around 19,000 rupees through SIP to get to his target. So that's the first aspect. Second, I think it's a good idea to maybe start your investment process with an index fund. You've chosen the right index, large and mid. So I think which is a good index. It covers basically 250 top companies in the country in terms of market cap. But as you rightly mentioned, Kavita, I think it's important to understand that there are three different segments in the market. The allocation sometimes has to be kind of realigned in line with what is happening in the market or what the emerging scenario looks like. Also, I think it's important also to have a mix of, passive fund and active fund. Because at least in our country, what we've seen is that over a longer period or there may be some phases where passive funds do better than active, but I think there is always a scope for active fund to do better than passive fund. And that's what we've seen even in the large cap in the last couple of years. So my suggestion would be that while keeping one fund will keep the process simple, but you may not actually benefit from the true potential of equity as an asset class. And since your time horizon is 18 years, I think you need to look beyond one fund. While you can certainly invest in just one fund that you have chosen, maybe you can invest around 8,000 in that. I would definitely recommend including a multi-cap fund in the portfolio. This is actively managed multi-cap fund. Multi-cap fund invests minimum 25% in all three segments of the market. And for the remaining 25%, the fund manager has the flexibility to decide, in which segment to invest in, where he can invest 8,000, and maybe one small cap fund because the time horizon is 18 years, Nippon India small cap where he can invest 3,000. While it is important not to have too many, but I think having one also does not really, is a great idea for any investor.
Also, Hemant, I wanted to understand the strategy of having a passive fund or index fund for large and mid cap category. Do you think he's missing out the alpha that he might get in a large and mid cap active fund?
Yes, like I said, honestly, if you're going to really compare different market segments, in the mid and small, I would say in the last couple of years, some of the you can see that index funds have done better than some of the actively managed funds. Obviously, when you look at the universe of actively managed fund, there can be gap in the top quartile of the fund and the remaining funds. If you choose your fund well in different segments and keep the flexibility of allowing the fund manager to kind of rebalance the portfolio, I think the fund managers still have the capacity and capability to generate alpha for you. So that's why I'm saying that I think it's always a good idea to have a combination of passive fund and active funds.
All right. I have Vikram on the line with me, Vikram. So apart from the index large and mid cap fund that you have, you can add Kotak multi cap and Nippon India small cap. Is there anything else you want to ask Hemant?
Nothing. That's clear. My question. Thank you.
All the best. All the best. We move on, and I have with me Mr. N. Naresh from Hyderabad. Hello, good evening, sir. How are you doing today?
Thanks, Madam Title.
Thank you so much for sending us your question, and I believe you want to understand if it is good to invest in ETF, and that too a Nifty 50 ETF, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So any specific reason why you are looking at investing in ETF? Do you have an investment portfolio which is well diversified across categories and also has an active strategy in it?
Yeah, I have run that expert portfolio. Basically, I'm an
Okay.
investor.
Sure,
But
sure.
probably instead of choosing a particular stock,
Okay.
it may be a better idea to go for a ETF.
All right. So let's get that thing answered by Hemant. Hemant, all right. So Hemant, index or an ETF? How do you decide?
Well, I think there's not much of a difference, Kavita. What happens is that if you have a demat account, you can buy ETF. If you don't have a demat account, you can buy index fund. There's not much of a difference because if you are not investing in the stocks, to then to open a demat account just to buy ETF, it may not be a great idea because you need to pay certain charges for maintaining the demat account. So I think if you don't have an existing demat account, then you can very well invest through index fund. So that's the basic difference in these two. In terms of his query whether he can invest in Nifty 50, look, I mean, we're talking about the top 50 companies in terms of market cap. Investing in a passive fund is all right when you want to start investing. But as you build your portfolio over a period of time, as we mentioned earlier also, I think all the three segments of the market play a crucial role. There has to be a large cap, there has to be a mid cap, there has to be a small cap. So I think keep that in mind that over a period of time, you need to have exposure to all three segments. And as I already mentioned while answering the first query, that a combination of actively managed fund and the passively managed fund, I think can be great for the portfolio. Even in the large cap, for example, when you're looking at Nifty 50, look, the universe of large cap is the top 100 companies in terms of market cap. So there are next 50 companies, okay, which also have a great potential to do very well. In fact, if you see the performance of next 50 over the last 2 years, they've done much better than Nifty 50. So I think somehow you need to make sure that if you're looking at large cap, you should have exposure to the entire universe of large cap. Now, maybe one option is obviously to begin with maybe Nifty 50. For the remaining 50, the next 50, you could either opt for actively managed large cap fund, which will kind of consider the entire universe of top 100 stocks, or you can look at the next 50 index fund or ETF. So I think either which way you need to make sure that when you're looking at a large cap, that the entire universe of 100 stocks should be available. I'm not saying that you need to have investment in all 50, but I think there should be a possibility that the fund manager is choosing funds where he thinks that there is a potential among the 100 stocks.
All right, Mr. Ramesh, hope that answers your query. Is there anything else you want to know?
No, thank you. It is sufficient.
All the best, sir. We move on, Hemant. There is a mail query from Ria, and Ria wants to extend her portfolio to mutual funds, and she wants to include sectoral funds after having a good exposure in large, mid and small cap and flexi cap. And she wants to know the long-term view across market caps and which sectoral theme for 3 to 5 years would be good for her.
Well, I think the important question to answer first is whether at what stage or whether you should have sectoral fund or thematic fund in your portfolio. I strongly believe that sector and thematic funds can play an important role in improving your overall portfolio return. But I think it's important to have sufficient experience of investing in equity. Your risk profile should allow you to have some exposure to these aggressive category of fund because there can be a tendency amongst these two category of fund to be underperforming or being more volatile than the well diversified fund. But at the same time, if you choose your sector and themes well and in the right proportion, like I mentioned earlier, they have the potential to kind of improve your overall portfolio return. So it all depends on the kind of investor you are, at what stage of your investment process you are. Once you have built a sufficiently large portfolio through well diversified fund, then you can certainly consider investing some part of it. Maybe if I can take you a thumb rule, maybe around 10% of your portfolio can be in thematic and sector fund. If you were to look at these category of funds today, my recommendation would be that you can consider ABSL PSU equity fund. Then there is Nippon India Power and Infrastructure Fund. And if you have to go for a pure infrastructure fund, maybe you can consider Quant Infrastructure Fund. I think these are two themes in two or three themes: power, infrastructure, and PSU. I think where I see still a lot of potential going forward.
For that, Ria needs to ensure that she is well diversified and has a core portfolio in place. On that note, we'll slip into a short break, but then post that, we still have our viewers connected live with us in case you too want to send across your questions. So delay no further, just WhatsApp your question on our WhatsApp number, and you can also email us your questions. And after the break, welcome back. You're watching The Money Show and we are answering your portfolio related queries. I have Hemant Rustagi with me today, who's doing the live financial planning for our viewers. And let's take Mr. N. Rajesh Kannan's question. We have his question with us. We are also trying to get him on the phone line, but then till the time we get him. Alright, we have Mr. Kannan on the phone line. Good evening, Mr. Kannan. Thank you so much for sending your question to The Money Show. And your question is to know about the best mutual fund for SIP.
Like I want to make that like I have using for term insurance and that health insurance fund. So is there any mutual fund to do SIP so that I can do for the plan for that insurance premium for both, like I can plan for that. I want to.
Interesting. You want to invest in mutual funds so that you can have a corpus for your
like
health and term premium. Yeah, sure. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So let's just explore this strategy because this is something new that I've come across in terms of queries also, Hemant. And but I'm sure it's not something that you've heard for the first time. Investing in mutual funds to pay your insurance premium. How does it sound to you?
Well, I think it's a great idea. Yes, we have come across these strategies. See, what typically happens is that when you're paying your insurance premium, be it for health insurance or term plan, and if you opted for an annual plan, you have time to build that corpus. Okay, so there are two options: either you can keep it in the saving account, or you can look for an option where you have an opportunity to get slightly higher return. At the same time, you do not compromise on the liquidity. So, in my view, investing in a liquid fund can be a great strategy for that. So he could consider either ABSL liquid fund or Kotak liquid fund. He can invest through SIP in the liquid fund, and as and when the money is required to be paid for the insurance premium on an annual basis or whatever, even on a half yearly basis, he can withdraw the money and then pay.
Alright, so all you have to do is just start investing in liquid funds, ABSL liquid fund and Kotak liquid fund. Is there anything else, Mr. Kannan, that you want to ask Hemant?
Nothing. Thank you.
All the best. We move on, and Hemant, we'll take Amit's question, and he's invested in 4 funds. I think you have the details. Time horizon is 20 years and aiming to accumulate 2 crores with 12% CAGR.
Is it time horizon 30 years or 20 years, Kavita? Can you just say?
20 years. Time horizon is 20 years.
Okay. So I think if you're looking at a 20-year horizon, with this investment of 20,000, I think he should be able to achieve his target. Overall, I would say the fund selection is good, except for the one fund where I say through equity and debt. Because the time horizon is 20 years for such a long period, investing in a hybrid fund is not a great idea, because you can get the best out of equity funds, especially when you are investing for 20 years and also investing through SIP. So my recommendation would be that you can consider one change. The rest of the funds are fine. That you can invest the money which is being invested in ICICI Pru equity and debt now to be moved into ICICI Pru large and mid cap. I think it's a quality fund. These are two important segments of the market. And even whatever a corpus is built up there already, that can also be moved here. And the SIP can continue from here on in ICICI Pru large and mid. The rest of the funds are fine.
Right, so that's a new fund mix recommended to Amit, and with that it's a wrap on the show. Thank you so much, Hemant, for being on the show and helping our viewers with their portfolio queries. And I'm going to leave our viewers with our WhatsApp number and email ID where we keep waiting for your questions, be it your mutual fund queries or insurance questions or credit card or even the tax saving strategy that you might want from us. Just send across your question on our WhatsApp number 865-797-4571 and our email ID, and we'll send across your question to our expert and do your life financial planning on the show. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.